Welcome to the Tulsa Arts District criterium. This is day 2 of Tulsa Tough, and it is a pretty challenging course. We are going to take this left-hander, another left-hander, right-hander up a hill, and then two left-handers at the top of the hill before it bombed down into the final left-hand straight. I crashed the day before, so coming into this with 0 points in the overall, but at this point, just trying to get the best result I possibly can. Started in the back, as is usual, so with the Kingdom Elite guys back there, and I am going to move up to the front slowly but surely. It was pretty easy the first day to move up to the front, so I was just banking on using the fitness. I had long sleeves on for this race, so that was fascinating, and I eventually paid for it, but at the beginning it was alright. Had some water on my sleeves and in my bottles, but it got hot very quickly. This two corners at the top of the hill there was the two corners that I picked out to move up probably the most there. Down the hill, that exit, there's a concrete barricade. That's going to be important. Lots of people get a little closer to that than they want to, but for most of it, I'm just trying to stay on the left side. The outside you can move up, but especially later on in the race, I was not planning on moving up on the outside due to corners, or due to crashes collecting. In the inside of that final corner, there's that grate there. People are going to chop a little too hard sometimes and get real close to that grate. I am people. I did that once or twice. So, done with the first lap. I've made it up a few spots, but keep chipping away. 75-minute, 80-minute race. It's hot. I think told Peter I was on his left. Did not get a lot of room there. I think the feels like it was like 102 for the women's race, and they had a lot of attrition. Ty Magner sending a corner pretty hard there. Skills at work. And yeah, moving up. Kind of got up to the front. Butcher box took away a little bit of space there from me, but managed to make it up. Got Gabe on the left here, trying to send gaps. Still trying to send gaps. Old Ribble showing him what gaps are not his to send. We kept racing. Early on, it was pretty active. It was hot. I think nobody really wanted to keep it together, so Alec Cohen, Michael Garrison, I think, made it up eventually, but Alec Cohen and a DCC guy were off the front for quite a while. They had like between a 25-second and a 45-second gap for most of the race. It kept coming back down and then going back out. No team was like super interested in chasing it for most of the race. So, this guy chopped me that last corner, and I came back, took his space back, and in this next corner he got pretty bunched up into it too. But that was happening all day. So, little break off the front. I think right now it's just DCC and Alec Cohen, but the field is starting to break apart. You can see him up there. There's like 4 or 5 guys in a little chase group. Rainstorm's not necessarily interested in chasing. Got Alfredo on my wheel. And stuff at like 45 minutes to go was starting to get a little antsy. I think people were like already getting tired, maybe tired from the first day. Probably not. It was a really easy day, but yeah, it was stringing out a lot like this, like almost a field split at this point during the race. And I did not want to be on the wrong side of the field split, so on the downhill here, I sent a good little move trying to get to this next group of riders. That's like 7 dudes, 2 guys in front of them. It's like top 10. I kind of wanted to be a part of that. Got a few guys that followed me. Looked back, they were still on my wheel, so I was just kind of soft pedaling here, 150, 200 watts. The guys in front were sitting up pretty well though. So I put the pressure back on, like did tempo, and then this guy finally pulled through. I don't think he had any teammates in the front, but he was not willing to pull through at first. And I think Ribble had some guys. Definitely ACG, or not ACG, Rainstorm had some guys. So eventually it came back together. Not a big deal. Lucas Burgoyne making some space there in the field. 45 minutes to go. And it's getting a little tense. I think everybody's pretty conscious that they need to be farther up towards the front. Tulsa seems to be pretty sketchy, but Guys, two guys still off the front here. I kind of want to make it across. I think they said like 25, 35 seconds here, and I figured I'd send a little soft attack. See if I could get 2 or 3 guys to come with me. Look back, saw Luke Fetzer was on my wheel, and was hoping there was a gap behind him. Looks like there is a gap behind him. So I kept the pressure on. Was rolling through pretty hard here. I was a little nervous about getting to the base of this hill, and the guy's just rolling past me. DCC dude pretty much marking it here. Ribble guy in the move, like he should have been pulling, and he eventually did pull through, so that was good. But Alfredo back there was not having that shit, so he pulled us back quite quickly. You can see his bandage there. A lot of the Rainstorm guys are pretty bandaged up. They've had a rough past 2 weeks, and we're getting closer to the end. So 40 minutes to go. People are chopping that corner. That dude was involved in the crash yesterday, so I was sure to give him some space, knowing his line is less than predictable. And we're going in the first corner. Same guy, little unpredictable line, but the race is on. Everybody's nervous. Everybody's taking weird lines. It's splitting up. 39 minutes ago, people were scared of stuff like this happening. This guy, the GCC guy, just let that gap go. Was kind of a dick move, and Johnny made sure to voice his opinion on that and get us back across with a little effort. Move is still off the front. They came back a few times and went back out. I don't think they were going too hard. They were just going steady. And I think a lot of the teams were banking on them cracking up there and hoping that another team would just play chicken and go pull it back. So nobody was really doing much. I figured it was a good time to jump across, so decided to send another little attack up and over into the downhill. Robin Carpenter right on my wheel with a little wave, but the field was right there, so I'm not making it that far. This is a really fast downhill. There was a big swarm on it almost every lap, where guys would just shoot up the inside. Gravel on the left there too, so it was bound to stay together for the most part. A little bit later on, I'm on Alfredo's wheel. This is like the next lap on Alfredo's wheel here, and big attack goes, but I see some dudes that I am worried about, and I know I need to close this. So it's enough of a gap where I'm not getting like a huge benefit from being right here, but I know it's super hard, and there's like gotta be gaps behind me. So if we make this work, I would be stoked on that. And so jumped onto this wheel. Unfortunately, right now we sat up. I was thinking about going here, but I just attacked the lap before. Kind of regretting attacking that lap before. Felt like right here would have been a good time to anticipate that lull and send it pretty well. But, oh well. Alfredo and Noah Granigan decided that would be a good move to go with. And they did. So we're pacing pretty hard here. Alfredo's going to keep the pressure on. Everybody's still in. And it was pretty easy to draft on this little part, even though it was shielded from the wind. Coming to this part, Alfredo does a little double clutch and then like keeps on the pace, sees if that rubber band will snap, but it did not. Coming around same lap here, Frank L. Rodriguez sends an attack on that hill. It's a really well-timed attack, but everybody was on it. Everybody was on it. Nobody wanted anything to get away except for what had already gotten away. So I'm moving back up. 20 minutes to go in the race, and it's getting nervous. Blazers decided to take up the lead, and they were pulling back time on the breakaway. They were, slowly chipping away at the break. Ribble guy in the back giving me a little high five, shaking his head. Continuing with the race. Blazers still in the front, trying to pull stuff back. Rainstorm sitting kind of right behind them. Looked like they were ready to take up if they wanted to. And then they started like splitting up. I'm on Lamperti's wheel. He's checking tire pressure. It looks pretty low. I didn't tell him that. I think he figured it out on his own. Before he goes into the pits, he decides he's gonna send a little move up into this fast corner. Guys are following him. I'm still on the Rainstorm train. I think that's a pretty good spot to be. Ribble has guys there. They're saving energy. They haven't really done too much during the race. It's getting a little iffy with 10 minutes to go. I think there was Luke Lamperti pulling over to the field, or pulling over to the pits, get a rear wheel change. I don't know if there were free laps left. I think it was like 8 laps to go at that point, so he might have just barely had free laps. Monk getting pinched in a little bit there. It was getting hairy here with 7 minutes to go. Lamperti's back in the field. Rainstorm might have just started to get to the front. Yeah, you can see him up there on the front. And Danny Summerhill took a little spill right there. A little slow-mo. Summerhill was pretty beat up from that one, I think. And that is not a good corner to go down into. So Rainstorm has lost a guy. They still have Brian and Alfredo for sprinters. They're pulling back pretty hard, but I think Hernandez there, that was the end of his little pool. So they've got a few guys left, but the gap was still big. It was like 25, 30 seconds after the Blazers pulled off. I think there was just a little too much hesitation before they started pulling stuff back. Here we have Outlaw, Connor White, chopping me on that corner. I told him you better pull it back, and he did. So we were cool. Hopping back on Fetzer and his wheel, and 6 minutes to go. So people are getting a little nervous. Another little crash on the outside. Everybody's dodging around it. Kind of was in a bad spot. I should have been a little farther up. I was pretty cracked from the heat at this point, throwing a lot of water on me, but it was not helping. And all of a sudden, gaps were opening. Everybody's feeling pretty rough in the heat. And I had to pull some stuff back. This was like a light pullback. I wouldn't say it was a big deal. Front camera died. This is the last lap. Everything is kind of together. You can see pretty strung out, but I'm like right on the wheel. Dudes are cracking. Different trains are pulling off. That DCC guy chopped the inside of this line and then buffed the corner up. So there's a big gap in front of us now. And the DCC guy just hit it into those top two corners. Got a gap on me. So now I'm like having to chase him back down. But I don't want to pull like this field back up and in. I didn't know how bad people might have been hurting back there. So I am hardly pedaling, like soft pedaling here into the finish straight, making sure I still have a little bit of a kick once we get to this finish. And want to get around this DCC guy who chopped that corner, lost our momentum. So I kick it pretty hard out of this. This Empire guy clearly had a lot of energy from doing nothing all day. So kicked it around him and ended up 18th. Alec Cohen, I think, got the win. And then right behind him was, the DCC guy got the win. I think Alec Cohen in second. And then Garrison bridged up and got third. Thanks for watching. See ya.